will, Beltran cut in. If you want to address us, you should call us the Penitent Brothers. So can you loosen my blindfold, penitent brother? They were guided to the door of the Morada, which is what the Penitent Brothers, who it seemed were renaming everything, informed them they should call the adobe house. Blindfolded, the two boys stumbled forward until they were told they should knock for permission to enter. The password was a string of words they had learned. They'd spent days repeating it and trying to memorize it, though with great difficulty, according to Wendy, because Spanish wasn't their first language, and English really wasn't either. More likely it was the Slovak spoken by their parents, who came from the Banska Bystrica region, a pair of immigrants who, even though they were white, were as poor and as Catholic as the gente, which is what the long-time Hispanic inhabitants of San Luis Valley in southern Colorado call themselves. "Who knocks on the door of the Morada?" a male voice demanded from within. "It's not the door of the Morada, it's the door of my conscience, and we come full of remorse and begging for mercy," the boys half muttered, tripping on the words and getting through it only with the help of the godfathers, who whispered in their ears those words that for them meant nothing. "Ask for penance, then," the response came through the closed door. "Penance, penance. We come looking for salvation," they said. "Who lights my house?" "My Father Jesus." "Who fills it with joy?" "My Mother Mary." "Who keeps my faith?" "The carpenter Joseph." Their mistakes were overlooked, and they were allowed to enter. Even though they were blindfolded, they knew they had walked into a small room because of the heaviness of the air and the smell of the enclosure. They were ordered to shed their clothes, and since they seemed reticent, various hands did it for them. In exchange, they were each handed a long, coarse blanket with a hole in the middle to put their heads through, and a rope that they were to tie around their waists. They felt totally helpless, blind and naked amid the invisible people surrounding them, and Sleepy Joe remembered the hatred he'd recently felt when a nurse at the Samaritana Medical Center had forced him to take off his clothes and put on a green robe to take x-rays. Now, too, he felt he was wearing a ridiculous costume and wanted to laugh, but such an urge was quickly dispelled by the gust of fear overtaking them. They were handed various lit candles and told to prepare body and soul, for they were about to enter the quarters of the Penitent Brothers of the Sangre de Cristo. The moment had come. What happens here stays here. They were made to repeat this 3 times, with the warning that if the secret were to be revealed, the price was death. Nevertheless, all of this eventually came from the mouth of Wendy Mellons. "Maybe I should just be quiet from now on," she admits. When the 2 boys crossed the threshold, they removed the blindfolds and found themselves in a large room poorly lit by candles and saturated with the thick smell of copal. There were men in brown robes, the Illuminated, or Brothers of the Light, according to the Godfathers, and others in black cloaks, the Blood Brothers, or the Brothers of the Passion, also known as the Penitent Brothers. In the middle of the room was a table on which were 4 or 5 of what the gente call the figures, wooden carvings of saints and other sacred images. Greg regretted that they had taken his wristwatch in the previous room. He wished he could glance at it now, because maybe he could then get the hours moving again, or at least confirm that all this would end soon. The copal smoke stuck in his throat, and he began to choke for lack of air. They put the 2 of them, the only ones with fair skin, right in the middle of the crowded congregation of mostly dark-skinned folk, and ordered them to lean their heads back and focus on the cross hanging from the ceiling. Meanwhile, the group formed 2 semicircles around them, brown robes on their right, black cloaks on their left, chanting hymns that reached the 2 boys from afar, as if through mounds of cotton, drowned out by the